Good afternoon. Thank you guys for joining us today for Google Slides Advanced Presenter Tools. My name is Louise Flynn. I'm a trainer here with the Office of Information Technology, and I'll be your disembodied voice for the session today. Also on this call is Katie McInerney. She's OIT's training coordinator. She'll be moderating and keeping an eye on that Q&A document and watching for any technical issues. So if you hear another voice, it will be Katie. So a few housekeeping notes before we get rolling. There is that Q&A document that's active during our live event. So that link is in the video description just below this window. So open it in a new window or tab. You type your questions in and Katie will be watching that. She'll either answer your question right there in the document or she'll read that question out to me while we're live and I'll answer it. There is a slight video delay on this YouTube live event. It's generally 10 to 30 seconds, so not very noticeable, but when it does come up, it's something like asking questions. If you're typing a question while I'm answering it, it might just be because there's a little bit of a delay there. And the evaluation and presentation slides are in that document as well. We do ask that you fill out an evaluation at the end. We use that for planning our events, how we do events. Do we do webinars and YouTube live events? Do we do live classes? What do you want to learn? So we do take that into account, and the slides are there for your future reference. So what are we going to talk about today? Advanced presenter tools. I'm going to cover some advanced capabilities and controls that are available in Google Slides. I'm also going to cover some quick tips and new features. So a lot of times, people don't know when Google rolls out new tools. They add things literally monthly to all of the G Suite apps. And so if you're not paying attention, it's really easy to miss that there's new stuff. So there are a few things that I'm going to cover that aren't necessarily advanced, but they are new and they're cool. This class does assume some familiarity with slides, and I'm going to go fast. So I like to make this pretty rapid fire. And so if you can just kind of sit back and relax and watch me go. The video, this whole YouTube live is being recorded, and the slides are available for later reference. So it's going to probably be better if you just watch and then go back and reference it later if you need some more information than trying to follow along with everything that I'm doing. So with that, I've got this agenda for today divided into 3 parts. So I'm going to talk about first building your slides, putting in some content that makes it more exciting when you present. And then I'll talk about what to do while you're actually presenting. And then lastly, sharing your slides. So we don't usually just present live and then are done with it. We often share our slides as well. So advanced tools and cool tips within each of those kind of 3 groups: building, presenting, and sharing. So part 1, building your slide deck. So collaboration is Slides' strongest feature. I can maybe hear a few people, I can't really hear you, who say, okay, this isn't really slides building, but biggest question I get about slides when I'm teaching slides classes is, why would I use slides over PowerPoint? And there are a lot of reasons, but I think collaboration is the biggest one. So I want to give a few advanced tips and tricks about collaboration in slides. So first, did you know that you can have up to 50 simultaneous editors in Google Slides? Can't do that with PowerPoint. Next, did you know about version history and activity dashboard? So let me pop out of presentation mode here into edit mode so I can show you a few other things. So version history is available within all of the G Suite tools. So it's under File, Version History. It'll show you all of the edits that were made and who made them. So in this file, I'm the only one who's been in here. But if I had multiple collaborators, they would all have a different color. And you could see the dates that changes were made. And I can then go in and see exactly what things were changed. When I go back, I can restore a version. I'm going to skip back to where I was. Oh, it lost my place here. So you can restore a previous version and still have all that history in there. Another cool collaboration tool is Activity Dashboard. This is one of those new tools. It's in a couple different places, either along the toolbar under Tools, or over here as a sort of jagged line at the top bar. Activity Dashboard shows you who a file is shared with and when they last viewed it. So a common complaint that we used to hear with the version history is, how do I know if somebody just reviewed a document and they didn't make any changes? Well, now in Activity Dashboard, you can see who last viewed a document and when. So again, this file is only shared with me, or I'm the only collaborator in it, although it is shared with other people. If other people had viewed it, you would see the last time that they had viewed the document. And commenting and action items. You guys are probably familiar with commenting across G Suite, but did you know about action items? So with Google Slides, we can comment here as well. So we've got a add a comment option. Action items and tagging you can do by typing in plus and someone's Unity ID, or start typing in their first name with a capital letter. Find them, and you can type a comment, and you can click this assign to you. Well, it's to me, but so if I type a comment in here, you see this, your plus mention will add people to this discussion and send an email. What I really like about this is that they get an email that says the comment in it and a link exactly to the slide that you were talking about, which is way more efficient than sending an email and say, please look at slide 3 and tell me what you think about this. You can leave a comment, they'll be taken straight to it. They can make the changes or they can reply to your comment. Type a reply. I know I'm just replying to myself. And it's all held in there together as a record of what's going on. So now we're going to move on to really adding content in our slide deck. So first off, videos. We can go to Insert, Video. We can insert from Google Drive or YouTube. So we can search YouTube right here. The YouTube search is a little bit interesting because I can't find this officially documented, but I'm pretty sure, based on some experimentation and other searching that I've done, that this is searching Creative Commons Zero videos. So videos that are shared with Creative Commons licenses, that means that they can be used without attribution. So the search doesn't search the same way that if you just go to youtube.com and search for a video. So you're going to get a very curated list here. So if you want to pull in a YouTube video that you know exists, I would recommend going to YouTube, finding that video, getting the URL, and pasting that in instead of searching for it in that search box. This Google Drive video ad was this pretty recent addition. There are a lot of people who don't want their videos out on YouTube, but want to put them in a slide deck. Now you can upload it to Google Drive, add it in the same way. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to do that elephant search again and just add any video to my slide deck. So it just pops it right in there. Now on the advanced side, we have format options. So here along our little icons bar, this format options popped up when we have our video selected. So when I click that, I get a sidebar with a few different options. The one that's relevant to video is video playback. So if I expand that, I get a couple of nice features for videos. Start and end time are great. So this is a 10-minute video. If I only wanted to show 30 seconds of it, I can say I want it to start, at 30 seconds and end at 1 minute. And it would automatically just play that 30 seconds when I play my video. I can also make my video autoplay, or I can mute the audio. Moving on, we got a little preview of this slide earlier when I was looking at version history. When I show video, people often ask, well, what if I don't want video, but I want audio? Well, that's coming soon, question mark, question mark. Google has a blog where they put out all of their upcoming releases, and that's one of our jobs as trainers here in OIT is to keep a close eye on that blog. And they put out in April that they would be adding audio only, without video, to Google Drive in April. And then it got delayed till May. And now it's June and it's still not here yet, but hopefully it'll be here really, really soon. They have told us that that will be under insert audio. So just like insert video, there'll be an audio choice and it will be Google Drive files only. But a lot of people are going to be really excited about that when it does roll out. Next, images. We have a few advanced tools that we can talk about with images. So to insert an image, go to Insert Image, and we've got lots of options here. The one I want to talk about that is kind of maybe less obvious is search the web. Oops. So search the web pulls up on the sidebar our ability to search the web. And again, this is searching a curated group of Google images. So I can preview this image by clicking a little magnifying glass on the side. And at the very bottom of the screen, we see image is labeled for commercial use with modification. So it's showing us images that we have a common license, that Creative Commons license to use. If I want to insert it, I can insert using the blue button here at the top. I can also just click and drag the file over. A few other advanced image options you have are image masking. So our image mask tool is right next to our crop tool on the icon toolbar here. So when I mouse over the crop tool, it says crop image. There's a little down pointing arrow next to it that says mask image. If I click on that down pointing arrow, I get shapes to do an image mask. So I can choose any shape and it will automatically apply that shape as an image mask. So I'm going to do it one more time. Shape mask, choose any shape, it will automatically apply it. If you're eagle-eyed, you may also have noticed that we have format options that showed up on that icon bar as well while we have an image selected, just like we had with our video. So with our format options for an image, we have a few different choices. I'll point out our recolor. So we have some very limited options for changing colors of image. These don't change, so it's not you get the same selection of recolors for every image that you choose. I'd say probably the most useful are things like black and white. We have a few other adjustments, so we can adjust the transparency, brightness, and contrast. These are limited controls for photos, but sometimes that's all you need. More interesting, they've added drop shadow and reflection as well. So we can add a drop shadow or a image reflection on any image that we have by going to that format options. So there's a lot of stuff that's hiding down in there that if you didn't know where to go and drill and look for it, you wouldn't be able to find it. Next, charts. Charts are pretty cool that you can add charts from sheets. So let's look at that. So insert chart. Now you have options, bar, column, line, pie. I suggest ignoring those, which sounds like, why would I ignore those? Because when you click on one of these, it's going to open a new demo sheet for you, a new Google Sheet that you will put your information in. So I say if it's going to take you to Sheets and you're going to have to make a chart anyway, go ahead, go to Sheets, use your data, make the chart that you want to make, and then choose from Sheets. So when you choose from Sheets, I've got a demo here. You just choose the file that you want. It's going to pull in the chart that was already made in Sheets. And the cool thing down here is this link to spreadsheet that's checked here at the bottom. So that's going to create a link between the chart and the data and your slides, as opposed to just pulling it in as an image. So I'm going to select that, leave it checked, link to spreadsheet, import, pulls it over. At the very upper right-hand side of the chart, we have linked chart options. So when I hit that down pointing arrow, I can unlink it and that will just make it a plain image, or I can open the source, and I'm going to open the source here and change my data and come back and show what it looks like when it asks you to update. So I'm just going to come in here real quick. It's making me look bad here. There we go. Update a couple of these numbers so it looks pretty different. Pop back over here into my slide deck, and now we see that it says update here in the upper right hand corner. So my chart didn't change when I updated the data, but it prompts me to update it here in slides, so because they're linked. So if I hit update, now my chart updates. So that's just one click that you have to go in and update your links, but you don't have to re-import it, you don't have to resize it, you don't have to move it. Just one click to update. I know there's some people who ask why doesn't it update automatically? And I think there are some use cases where you wouldn't want it to update automatically. You want to use the old data and maybe the new data in different slides. And if you automatically update it for you, you wouldn't be able to do that. But still, one click is pretty nice versus having to pull it all in. Next, diagrams. Diagrams are pretty new. We can go to Insert, Diagrams. And here on our sidebar, we've got a lot of different options for kind of pre-made diagrams, like it said. So I can choose a hierarchy, a level of hierarchy, and a color. And pull this over. Again, this is not super advanced, but it's new. I can just click it, and it's added. I can click in here and change what's there. I'm going to undo that since it took over my whole screen. But that's all it is to insert a diagram, and then you've got flexibility of moving things around, adding your own text, etc. Next, animations and transitions. So animations and transitions in Google Slides are honestly pretty limited. This is one of those things that I talk about when people ask about kind of pros and cons of slides versus PowerPoint. PowerPoint has a lot more animations available to you. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's a bad thing, right? We all know people who have totally abused their animations powers, right? They've made terrible animations. So having fewer of them might not be a bad thing, but if you're really into animations, slides may not cut it for you. But let's see what's available. We go to Insert, Animation. And this puts our animations and our transitions in the same sidebar. So an animation is action that happens on the slide itself, and a transition is an animation, an action that happens between the slides. So a dissolve or a fade or a flip while you're moving from slide to slide. So even though I went to Insert Animation, it pulls up transitions first. I can click this pointing arrow, and I can see the transitions that are available to me. And I can apply it to all slides if I wanted to. And if I chose one, applied it to all slides, if I wanted to take it away from all slides, I just go back up to no transition and apply to all slides. So to add an actual animation, I'm going to collapse this transition. I select an object to animate. For whatever reason, I always want to click on that text, select an object to animate, like plus, I'm going to add an animation. But you have to do what it actually says. I have no idea if I'm the only person that gets caught up on that. But you choose an item, an object that you want to animate. I'm going to choose my little fish here. Then I can click the plus. And it gives me some choices for animations that are available to me. So I can, for example, have this fly in from right, so it'll kind of look like it's swimming in. We have a slider bar here. One thing that I find a little difficult about Google Slides, and I've got it as my second bullet here, is the slider bar equals both duration and delay. So it's the duration of the animation event. So I can make the flying in, the fish looking like it's swimming in, happen very slowly or happen very quickly. But this bar also becomes a delay between events when I have a different type of animation trigger. So our animation triggers are what is making this animation happen. Usually we do something like on click. So when I click the mouse or I try to advance my slides, this animation is going to happen. But we also have other options of after previous and with previous. So we can have something happen, kind of stack them up, or things happen at the same time. So if I choose after previous or with previous, the slider bar becomes the amount of time that happens between the events. So after previous with a long delay versus how fast something happens. I find it clunky and not as clear as it should be, but that's the way they've made it. And that might be helpful for you if you're trying to figure out how to make things happen with slides. So just as an example here, I can make this fly in from right on click, and I'm going to make him fly in medium slow. I have this play button here that'll just kind of demo it for me. So on click, gonna fly in. And that's all of our animation. Next, skipping slides. Again, not a very advanced thing, but a new thing. There have been a lot of questions in the past about how do I just hide a slide? Until pretty recently, there was not a way. You just had to delete your slide if you didn't want it shown in your presentation. But now we can right-click on the slide while we're in this film strip view and just click Skip Slide. When a slide is skipped, you can mouse over it and it'll say the skipped when presenting. It gets an eye with a line through it. If you want to unhide that slide, it's just as easy as right-clicking and unchecking Skip Slide. Next, some internal navigation. Did you know that you can jump to a slide or make a table of events by using links? So there's links. There, I'm just going to highlight something. Go to links on our toolbar here, insert link. You know all about this. You just put in a link that you want it to go to. But have you ever seen right underneath this drop-down arrow of slides in this presentation? So if you click that slides in this presentation, you get some navigation options for next, previous, first, last, but then also a list of every slide in your slide deck. So if you want to jump directly to a slide, you can put a link in, and it'll take you there. So kind of an application of that is that you can make buttons. So you can add a link to any object in Google Slides. So a photo, well, probably not a video, but a photo, a shape, text, a whole box, anything you can make into a navigation button, either for an external link, like copy and paste a link of a web page you want to take somebody to, or an internal link for the slides in that presentation. So you can make a table of contents, direct people to different places, kind of have branching scenarios, or just push people to websites with prettier buttons than links. Okay, so I'm going to take a super quick pause here and check in with Katie if there are any questions about building presentations.
No questions yet, so
okay, cool.
Going.
I'm going to keep rolling then. So moving on to part 2, presenting. So this is when you're actively giving your presentation to people. What are some things we can do there? So there's other kinds of navigation. So I'm going to jump into present mode for this by clicking our present button at the top. Did you know that you can jump to slides while you're presenting? So down here, when I mouse over, I see our kind of control bar. It says what slide number I'm on. If I click that, I get a list of all the other slides in my presentation. It shows the title of the slide on it. So I have a title on every slide that I'm using. So like this one is other navigation. If you don't have a title on your slide, so it's an image or it's a video, or you just have text boxes without an official title, it will be blank next to the slide number as opposed to having that title. So it's a good reason to have titles if you need to be jumping places. But you can always click there, go to wherever you need to go. Other navigation in here, go back, is this play button. So all slides, videos have autoplay turned on all the time. You may have never used it, but it's there, and it's that play button. So if you click that play button, slides advance every 3 seconds automatically. So I'm going to click that. We'll let it auto advance. You won't really be able to tell it's auto advancing, but there we go. Oh, there, it's going fast. I'm going to go back. So speaker notes are here now. Another one of those things that people asked, where are they? You could put them in edit mode, but you couldn't see them anywhere. How you get there is along this toolbar at the bottom. We have notes. It just pulled up a different window that popped under, so let me find that here. Sorry. All right, so we have this window. This is why this book works best with 2 screens, so that you can have your notes on one screen and your slides on the other screen. But so now I can see my speaker notes while I'm actually presenting. I'm going to scoot this over for a second. Move on to our next slide. So Q&A. Q&A is a really cool tool that allows you to accept real-time audience questions. You get to Q&A along that same toolbar and click Q&A. It pops up that same box that was just open for speaker notes, but this is called Audience Tools. Usually when you open it up, it says Start New, but I did a little test earlier, just a few minutes before we got live here. So it's giving me an option to continue recent. I'm going to click that. Continue. So what this did here is we got a banner at the top that gives a short link. Anybody who's watching this right now that is at NC State can type in that short link and put in a question. If you want to, you're more than welcome to. It comes in on this little extra screen, like Katie's put one in here at 11:48, testing slides Q&A. Katie just put in another question, so I can see questions that are coming in. Audience participants have the ability to upvote and downvote questions. Questions are only accepted while this banner is on. So if I were to click off here, no one would be able to put in another question. I'll leave it on just for another minute. You see it says accepting questions from anyone or NC State University. If it's at NC State University, they'll have to be signed into a Google account. Otherwise, it's all anonymous. And when you have people signed into their NC State Google account, it shows their name when they put in a question. So kind of some use cases there about who you want to be able to ask questions, and how do you want it to be anonymous or not. Another thing about Q&A is it really should just be called Q, because you can't answer it within that tool. So what I can do, if I want to answer a question, I can click present and it shows Katie's question, but it doesn't let me type an answer back. I'm going to hide it now. I'm going to turn questions off. It doesn't allow me to type an answer back to her. It doesn't record anything as far as answers. So it's really just a good way to get large group or anonymous questions in. You may wonder why we are using our Google Doc instead of this Q&A, and that's because we can only take questions when the banner is up. So when I was in Google Slides making edits, that banner couldn't be up because we weren't in presentation mode. So it does have some limitations, but otherwise it's a really cool thing to be able to take questions in real time and have the audience upvote and downvote them about what they want to have answered. Next, live captions. This is another super cool feature. So this, just a couple of caveats here. This only works in Google Chrome, and this only works for English right now. I think they're doing, Google's working on getting this for other languages as well. So again, along our bottom toolbar here, we see captions with a CC symbol. When I turn that on, it gives me a bottom bar right along the bottom of the screen that is live captioning everything that I'm saying. It does a really good job. It does a really good job even for people who are speaking softly, are far away from a microphone, or have kind of non-standard American accents. So right now I'm wearing a headset, and so I have a microphone really close to my mouth. So it's getting a good signal here. But I've also seen this used in rooms where people are pretty far away from the microphone on a laptop. Maybe they're like 10 feet away presenting, and it's still picking it up, and it's still doing a really fast, really good job of live captioning. So the other thing that comes up is that people always want to know, how can I pull these captions out? How can I save them? You can't right now. I think that might be something that comes in the future, but right now they're just live while they're live. So if you need captions on something else for long term, you're probably looking at putting them in a YouTube video and adding a caption file there. So I'm going to turn that off for now. Just get my screen back. And move on to part 3, our sharing our files, because usually when we give a presentation, we don't just stand up here and present and then are done with it. We usually share our slides in one way or another, like I shared slides with you so that you can have them for later reference. So let's talk about some advanced permissions. So just like in other Google apps, we can choose our levels of access. I'm going to go back into edit mode here. So we can choose editing, commenting, or viewing access for our decks. But there are a few other things in advance as well. I'm going to go to a demo slide deck. This deck that I'm working with right now is in Team Drive, so things look a little bit different, but I want to talk about some things that are just in regular My Drive. So here's my demo slide deck. It's very ugly. That's okay. It's not supposed to be pretty. If I go up to my permissions here, share, here we go. So I can share this with someone and give them edit, comment, or view access, or get a shareable link. Those are all the pretty normal things. I want to show some advanced stuff here. Advanced, there's a little button in the bottom right. Katie already has access to this file. I can change her access after she's already been given access. So she's an editor. I could change her to be an owner or to comment or view. Right here at the bottom, this is pretty cool. Set expiration for comment and view access only. So if I click set expiration, it automatically changes her access from edit to comment. And I can choose an amount of time that I want her access to expire. So she can only see this or comment on this for 7 days or 30 days or a custom date. So it's going to give me the date, exact date and time of that. Or if I decide later that she should really keep access, I can come back in and cancel it. So that's kind of neat. A few other advanced tools are these owner setting checkboxes here. You can prevent editors from changing access or adding new people. So if I share this with Katie and I really only want Katie to see it, I don't want her to be able to add additional editors, I can check that box. And I can check a box to disable options to download, print, and copy. That's just for commenters and viewers. So if somebody has full edit access, they'll still be able to download, print, and copy. And again, there are ways that people can get around that by screenshotting and the what like, but this can lock it down a little bit. I'm going to cancel that. Done. I'm going to go back over to my regular real slide deck. So publish to the web is one of my favorite things about Google Slides, which Google Slides has lots of cool features, so why am I so excited about publish to the web? But publish to the web essentially makes your presentation into a web page and gives you a URL to share. So a way to look at that is what I'm showing you right now is edit mode. And if I were to have shared this file with you and published it, if I'd shared this file with you and gotten a kind of anyone with link can view link and given you that, and you clicked on that link in that Q&A document, this is what you would see. You would see this edit mode with all this film strip. You wouldn't be able to edit it. Maybe I just gave you view access, but you'd see everything. But you don't see that. What you see is this here. So this view is the view that you have. This is published to the web. So it shows this presentation in just presentation mode. So you're seeing a really clean, kind of finished version of things. You're not seeing it with all this edit stuff. So I really like publish to the web when I'm sharing files with people and they just need to kind of see the pretty finished product and they don't need to comment on anything. They don't need any editing, they just need to see it. There are kind of a few downsides with publish to the web that you lose a lot of those presenter tools. So I'm going to come back, publish to the web version. If I mouse over the bottom, I don't get those presenter tools like Q&A and closed captioning. Those are only available when you're in that edit mode. So there's a little bit of some kind of what do you need when you're there. Oh, I think that was in my next slide. That's okay. So I want to show you how to publish to the web. And I'm going to go back over to my demo slide deck because this one that I'm doing is already published to the web. So just go to File, Publish to the Web, and it says Publish, basically. You can get a link. This Auto Advanced Slides, though I talked about that play button, you can change that here in this drop-down. You can start the slideshow as soon as the player loads. So as soon as somebody brings up that link, it's going to start playing automatically. You can have it restart. You also have the ability to embed your slides. So if you have a website and you want to have a slide deck, maybe auto playing like a carousel or even just the ability for somebody to click through a slide deck on a web page, you can pull an embed code out. Pretty nice. So if I hit publish, do I want to publish? Yes, I certainly do. I now have a very long link that I could share with people, and they would just see my presentation published to the web as that web page in presentation mode. At the bottom here, we have published content and settings. This is where I stop publishing. So I say I don't want this published on the web anymore. I can turn that off. And lastly, we have this checkbox of require users to sign in with their NC State Google account. So you can, that's another one of these maybe downsides to publish to the web, is that you have less control over who can see it. So when you're sharing things through the regular sharing button, you can add individuals and say, this is the only person that can view it. When you publish to the web, it's much more open, but you do have the ability to require viewers to sign in. So I think I cover, a lot of that here in the advanced, the next slide. I want to point out that require sign in to view is just a My Drive feature, not a team, or as they're calling it now, shared drive feature. So if a file is in team drives, shared drives, it's available for everybody. I'm not super sure about why they made that choice, but that's how it is. So there's custom slide timing. So I want to show one other thing. I'm going to go to our publish to the web version. So our URL that you get is really long, and it has some information at the very end of the URL about, is it going to autoplay? Is it going to loop? So we see start equals false, loop equals false. That means that I don't have it autoplaying and I don't have it looping, restarting automatically. And then we have a delay. So this is a 3,000 millisecond delay. So if you have a custom time that you want your slide to play in and you don't see it on the drop down there in that publish to the web, you can put it in here. You can put in any time in milliseconds and have a custom URL timing. Sort of an interesting thing that it's always there. Next, some other questions that I get is, what if I don't have the internet? Or I use PowerPoint because I'm going to this conference and I'm afraid that the conference Wi-Fi is going to be bad. I won't be able to present. You have a couple options. You can turn on offline mode, or you can download your file as a PowerPoint file. So something we talk about a lot in our G Suite training is that there are times when you might need a Microsoft tool for various reasons, but it's always a great idea to start in Google Drive files because of the collaboration. So you get all of your content in Drive, you get all these people collaborating, making comments, co-editing, you've got that version history, you can keep track of everything, and then download it as whatever file you need and kind of do your cleanup there. So we can go to File, Download As, and download it as a PowerPoint or any of these other formats, and then take it into PowerPoint and do a little bit of cleanup. Depending on what you've done in Google Slides, it might come over just fine and look great. Sometimes things get a little wonky. For example, we have a YouTube video in this presentation that will not pull over into a PowerPoint file. It'll come over as an image. So there's some stuff that makes sense that it is going to be a little weird, but most of it comes over pretty well going from slides to PowerPoint. Offline mode is also available. They've made it a little more streamlined to turn on offline mode recently. So now we can go to File, Make Available Offline. This is Chrome only, and you must have internet access to turn it on. Essentially, it's just putting a cached version of your presentation in your browser. So Make Available Offline, all I do is turn it on, and I can reload it and have offline editing. So if you're someplace that you're worried about your internet access, you can turn on offline mode while you have internet access, and then you'll know that you have access to it, even if that internet access gets spotty. So I have been going really fast. That's the last of my content. I'm going to turn it over to Katie, see if there are any questions that have come in the Q&A document while I've been motor mouthing over here.
Still no questions.
Okay, well, I'm going to take that as people are like absorbing all of this information. They're going to come back later and watch it and be able to implement all of these things. So I'll just move right into our last slide, which is our Stay Connected slide. Again, we have that evaluation. So if you have feedback you'd like to give about this presentation, the content of it, the type of things that we offer in the future, and the format. Please fill out that evaluation. It's anonymous, but we do take it very seriously. You can follow us on Twitter at @NCSU_OIT. You found our training calendar through Reporter, but Learn IT is where all of our classes are published. And you can contact us by emailing classreg@ncsu.edu. That's how you get in touch with us for custom trainings. So if I've said something today that you say, I want my whole team, I want my whole department to hear this message, will you come and tell us? Yes, we will. We will come to you and do a custom training on basically any G Suite tool you'd like to hear about. We ask that you have 5 people, which is a pretty low bar, and we will go anywhere on campus to deliver that. You can put in a request by emailing us at classreg@ncsu.edu. So this is the last call for questions. Otherwise, I'm going to wish you guys a great rest of your day. So Katie, last call. Any questions?
Nope, you're good.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And we hope to see you again at a future live event, a YouTube live event, or a in-person class.